One, two, one, two, three.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily Jean. I hope you're all having a spectacular day. Happy 2023! I took a week off to kind of just like get ready for the new year. And it's 2023, can you believe it? Wild, crazy. I set up my goals for the new year. I set up my daily grind planner for the new year. I made my vision board for the new year. I will share all of that with you guys. But today I wanted to share the books that I read in 2022, one of my big goals. So this reading journey was inspired by my friend Lexi. She is a bookworm, and so I started reading in 2019. So in 2019, my goal was to read 19 books, and then in 2020, my goal was to read 20 books. 2021 was 21 books, and of course 2022 is 22 books, and I actually ended up reading 23 books. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna like rapid fire all the books that I read, and then I'm gonna give you guys a top 5 of my 5 favorite books of 2022. But before we go into that, please click that subscribe button because it'll really support my channel. Let's go in with the books that I read for 2022. I'm gonna go in no particular order. I did read like kind of like a bunch of different authors in chunks. So let's start with Bridgerton. So before 2022, so like December 2021, I started the Bridgerton series. I wanted to read The Viscount Who Loved Me, which was the current season 2 before they aired that. So I read that book. I really enjoyed that book. And I read 4 more of the Bridgerton series. I read An Offer from a Gentleman, which is Benedict's story. Not my favorite, but really entertaining. Then I read Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. I really like this one. It's Penelope and Colin's story. And this is actually the book that they're filming right now for season 3. I don't know if it's just me, but because now there are actors attached to it on TV, I read it with the actors in mind, so I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with Colin and Penelope's story. Then I read To Sir Philip with Love, which is Eloise's story. I really like this book as well. I think it's because I associate the actor, and I was like reading with her in mind, so I did really enjoy this one. And then I read Francesca's story, which is When He Was Wicked. This one's definitely the spiciest out of all of them, but I really like this one as well. So those are the 4 Bridgerton books that I read in 2022. Then I started the American Royals series. So I read the first 2, and I actually just got the 3rd one, which I'm really excited about. This is a fun little series. This is like if America had the royal family. So it's like interesting to see like the perspective of like being an American, but with a royal family. So I really enjoyed these. They were super fast reads. I couldn't put them down. And I'm excited to start the 3rd one, which I think just came out. So I have that. That was one of my Christmas presents. So I did really enjoy reading this series. I got this for Christmas last year. This is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I loved this book. I loved the relationship. The stakes were really high. I couldn't put it down. I want them to write more about this couple. I really, really, really enjoyed this book. I think this might make the top 5. I got this book at The Strand, which is a bookstore in New York City. It's called My Policeman. It was just like a spicy little book, really fast. I think I read it in like 2 days. Pretty good. I wouldn't like say it's in my top 5 for this year, but it was not too expensive, so I enjoyed reading this one. Then I got to read my friend from college, Chelsea, wrote a book. She's officially a published author, and I had to go to the bookstore and buy the book. I didn't want to buy it online because I feel like when you're friends with the author, it's really exciting to like see their book on the shelf and like pull the book off the shelf. And I took a picture with it and I was like, look, love this. This is about her parents and her life, and it's called Inexplicably Me, a story of labels, worthiness, and refusing to be boxed in. It's really inspiring. It's a really short read too, so I read this in one sitting. It does like a deeper dive into her life and her parents. I really enjoyed this, and Chelsea, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations on being a published author. Okay, talk about thrillers, Silent Patient. So I was on Book Talk and somebody was listening to the audiobook of this, and I saw it in Amazon Books, so I bought it. Crazy thriller. I really, really enjoyed this. Again, I read it in like 2 to 3 days. I do like, so it's about like psychotherapists. So my grad school like clinical mental health counselor brain was kind of involved with this too. Really enjoyed this one. This is Then She Was Gone. I got this at Target. Pretty good. I don't really remember it, so that can tell you something. Like it was good, but wouldn't make the wouldn't make the top 5 for 2022. Things we never got over. This was a really good book. I did enjoy the storyline. I did enjoy sort of like the uncovering of like what was going on in this. Really entertaining, pretty thick, one of like the thicker books that I read this year, but I don't think it's gonna make my top 5 for 2022. Pretty Girls, this was a good book too. It's sort of like a thriller. Again, I like these kind of books because you can kind of not fly through it, but it's one of those books that you don't want to put down because you just want to see what keeps coming next. So I did really enjoy this book. I got this book for Christmas last year as well. This is People We Meet on Vacation, super fun. Like this is a book that you would bring like on vacation with you. Really, really fun book. Okay, this one's definitely gonna make the top 5. This is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Loved this book. Loved what they did with the story and the uncover. I also like reading from the journalist perspective because she's learning something and then the reader's learning something. It's definitely gonna make the top 5. I loved this book. The last book I read of the year was Tom Felton. He came out with a biography, The Magic and Mayhem of Growing Up as a Wizard. And it's kind of really fun to read his perspective because he wasn't one of like the main people. Although he's probably like associated the most with the franchise right now because he does a lot of publicity for it, but I really liked hearing his perspective, and he was also a little bit older when they filmed, so I really enjoyed this, and I like buying like the hardcover books of people that I sort of follow their life and follow their career, so I did really enjoy this book. Okay, now we're gonna get into Colleen Hoover. I went down the Colleen Hoover rabbit hole. These are all the Colleen Hoover books that I bought this year. Okay, let's start with this series. So this was Maybe Someday. I did really enjoy this book. This is a really good story. I like that it's about music and about writing and about artistry, and he's, you know, deaf and there's sign language, so I really enjoyed this book. Maybe Now is the sequel to that. It wasn't as good as the first one. I honestly preferred the first one to the second one, and then I read This Is Maybe Not, which is, I think it's supposed to come before? Yeah, this is supposed to come before the books, and it's a quick little read, so I wanted to like finish out that series. But out of all 3, I would say Maybe Someday is the best book out of all 3. I read one of these. This is one of her like thrillers. This is Confess. It was pretty good. Compared to all the other ones, it was not my favorite, but I do like her writing style, so it was a good quick read. Again, not too thick of a book. Then I did Reminders of Him. This book was really good as well. Again, it wasn't as memorable as some of the other books that I read by her this year, but I do like her writing style, so I did enjoy this one. Then I went into Verity. This you've seen probably all over Book Talk. It's so good, thriller. You don't really know what's going on. I really enjoyed this book, and I think it's gonna make the top 5. Then we go into these two. So It Ends With Us is the first book, and then It Starts With Us is like the beginning of that like storyline. But this book, honestly, like I was sobbing by the end of this book, and I haven't cried reading a book since like Harry Potter. So 10 out of 10. I think this is my top book of the year. It was so good. It was so well written. The story, you just really connect with the characters. So good. This was so good. All right, so those are all the books that I read. Let's go for a top 5. I think my top 5 is going to be 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. 10 out of 10. I highly recommend. Red, White, and Royal Blue. I loved the relationship in this book, and I wish they would write more about this couple. Maybe Someday. Loved this book. Loved the relationship in this book as well. Verity, which is like a little psychological thriller for you. Loved this book. And then What Takes the Cake is It Ends With Us. Best book of the year, hands down. I loved this book. So my goal for 2023 is to read 23 books, and I just started. I'm getting into the Throne of Glass series. So I got that for Christmas, the whole series. So I'm gonna read the Throne of Glass series. I'm gonna read the Zodiac Academy series. I got the 3rd book of American Royals. So I'm kind of set for a little bit, but have you read any of the books that I talked about? If you did, comment down below. Did you like them? Did you hate them? Do you have book recommendations? If you do, drop a comment down below and let me know what books you recommend I read. I love reading, and it's a really good way to finalize my night. I read before I go to bed, and I read on the train when I commute to work. So I'm just really grateful for all these stories that I get to read all year, which is really exciting. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please click that subscribe button because it'll really support my channel, and I will see you all in the next video.